on this computer. There we go.
Now we're recording. Okay.
Okay.
Can you all see this now? Yes. Yeah, Nate, how do we know?
Mr. Yes.
Okay. So thank you for getting on here. Sorry for the technical glitch. I'm just impressed it's all working. So thank you for being here. What we thought would be useful, we've done some Zoom calls with some of you. We thought it would be useful to sort of walk through what it is. We're recording this for those who can't be here tonight and want to see it later. So a future hello to all of you as well. But basically, we want to explain what we were doing, who we were, what the year looked like, and sort of start a dialogue that in assessing what we've done well and what we haven't done well, I don't think we've created enough of a dialogue with all of you. And we wanted to sort of fix that because the gardens really are what we're doing. Anyone can make a hot sauce. And frankly, I think almost anyone does. But, what we're doing is something very different. It was always aimed at helping community gardens. It was aimed to promote them. Here in New York, where we live, they serve a very vital function, and they're highly misunderstood, underrepresented, and really the amongst the great things that they do is they do and help so many people with just their own sort of ability to maneuver and to operate in the city on really low funds. So when we saw with the work that they were doing some other things, we thought it'd be great to sort of help strengthen them and promote them by, creating something that we could bring out to the people and allow them to sort of benefit from it. And the gardeners, we started in the Bronx, and the gardeners in the Bronx at first were somewhat skeptical, but we had a crew of people who bought into it. And from that point to today, we've prided ourselves on a couple things. One of which was we continue when we make commitments to fulfill them at all times, and we want to continue we will continue that no matter what. And the second thing we did is we sort of very transparent about how we were doing and what we were doing. Some of the things we haven't done as well is sort of bring some of the stories nationally out. We did the Bronx pretty well, and we're able to tell that story, but that's because we were here. Now, as we expand out further into the nation, into different cities and places with a variety of new stories and new gardeners and new people, we want to be able to articulate that story, both the one that we're doing here in New York, but also to the masses as well, because people generally want to help and think that this is a worthwhile endeavor. And I think they think that in part because of the good work you do every day. So we prepared a little agenda. We didn't want it to take up too much time, wanted to see if there was a dialogue that came out of it, but really wanted to think about this as sort of the first step in a series of steps that we'd like to undertake this year to sort of make sure that line of communication is open. Dan or King? Oh, so one thing I should introduce, King is a friend of mine from, we went to nursery school together, and we had two divergent career paths. King went on to become a classically trained chef. He went to the Culinary Institute of America and opened up his own restaurant, has worked at dozens of other restaurants, and has real, what I like to call flavor synesthesia. So we started this thing way back when King and I had gone up to Cornell to go see the people at the Cornell Food Agriculture School that helps people like us start businesses like this. And it was really important that they were able to walk us through that. We thought it was great. And we launched. A couple of years later, Dan had finished up his academic credentials, and Dan came in and really helped make the business grow bigger and bigger. We were in the Bronx and we were doing it. And all of this has been somewhat of a big experiment, but this is the team. So we've been doing it now for a number of years. We try to put that out there, and we've done some press stuff around it as well. But everyone has more impressive credentials than the ones I went over. But in the name of time and speed, we'll stick with those. So we want to just walk you through the PowerPoint and then open up the questions at the end. The name of the company is Small Axe Peppers. It's based on an old proverb. If you are the big tree, we are the small axe. And we took the symbolism to mean, many people working together, doing their own little bit can change the world a whole lot. And we thought it was possible to sort of connect consumers and garden people in a way that was beneficial for both. And that sort of became the nexus of what we wanted to put together and what we wanted to do. So we thought the small axe reference was something that would work very well in describing what we wanted to be. We've had some great success to date. Last year was a big year for us because we bought 11,000 pounds of peppers across the country. Just give you just some perspective. The first year when we launched, we thought we had done absolutely gangbusters in the Bronx. We got 750 pounds of peppers. We thought, man, this is amazing. Look at all this stuff. So to be at 11,000 and 51 gardens in 36 cities in 23 states, is really inspiring to us to keep moving forward. The idea will work. It will take hold. And you'll hear throughout this that, a number of other important people have bought into the story, and that's been helpful. And some of those people work as buyers in grocery stores and, salespeople and clerks and various things that helped really our expansion grow, because they like the concept of helping the gardeners. I think the flavor is excellent. And I don't know if all of you gotten to try it, but flavor is really quite good. And the story is second to none. So we're trying to distill that a little bit further. Many of you may know this. For those of you who don't know this, this is our model. Can you see this all? Just nod affirmatively. Yeah, okay, good. All right, so basically it is what it is. We send out seeds in the beginning of the season. The farmers grow what they grow. Not everyone sends them back to us. I talked to some guys in Chicago, or right outside of Chicago, the other day, and about half of their crop went to the guy who lived next door because he likes hot peppers. I said, well, there's no contract, there's no nothing. If that's the way you chose to do with it, and that would help you, well, then do that. That's great. But everyone has their own little bent on where they want to go with it. But this is the model we've established, and many gardeners have found it beneficial. And at the end of it, there's a check. And if you don't want to check, you can get the hot sauce if you have a farmer's market. And some people avail themselves of that. But primarily,
It's not 50-50.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. Because, a lot of the gardeners like to take the hot sauce because they could sell it at the farm stand for $5 or $6 a bottle, and that raises the amount of revenue generated from the amount of peppers that they grow.
It does have a doubling effect or so.
Doubling effect.
And maybe even some more. One of the guys was saying they sent it out to their board members. I guess they have a bigger board, and they really liked the physical manifestation of their work and thought that was important. So that was great. This is the timeline. I think many of you know this already. You should have gotten a seed request form that we asked people to fill out. We've been doing some Zoom calls. If you haven't, I'm gonna share all this, and we'll share anything that we mention here along the way. You have my email. If you don't, I'll make sure that we give it to you. We have Dan's, and we'll make sure to get you any and all of this stuff. So don't worry too much about it. But these are sort of the timelines that have been established. We're trying to get the seed orders together. People put them in. We had used Johnny's seeds for a while, but we were looking around at some other people as well. That's going to resolve itself this week or so, hopefully this week. And then we'll look to get them out, because we understand in some parts of the country, the grow season might already be sort of a little bit underway here. So we don't want to dilly-dally with that. And Johnny's is pretty good. They killed us on the shipping, but such is life. And Dan's going to come back out with a little bit more of the logistics. This is the high level overview of it, but
yes, we have a UPS guide that we had sent out last year. If you had worked with us last year, we had step-by-step instructions for how to create the UPS account, create the shipper account, which is the thing that allows you to link it to us. In order to do that, we need to give you an invoice and some other stuff. It's really, it seems more difficult than it is. It's just, if you do it all in one, sitting, it's more helpful, because if you try and create the shipment first, then you find that you need to do UPS account, and some of the peppers are already in the box, and it's just better to do step 1 and 2 as soon as possible. And then as you get the peppers in, you can do step 3 and 4. But we have a step-by-step instruction that's going to walk you through that whole process that I'll send out after this meeting.
Right, we'll mail that to everyone. So, and it seemed to have worked pretty well for the last couple of years, which was surprising. The peppers, so end up getting processed when they come in. They're cleaned and washed and stuck into a vat of vinegar, which is where they end up ultimately getting processed into the sauce. But it's a good to sort of capture it right when it comes in, to capture that flavor and put it right into that vinegar. That way we also don't have to pay for the inventory as it comes in immediately. You just pay more for storage.
And one more note on that, if you can pick and pack the peppers the same day, would be very helpful. I mean, I know that some gardens that we've talked to, they do it always on Wednesday. And so they pick it in the morning, they put it in the boxes, they're out at the UPS store by Wednesday afternoon. And that means that we get them fresher and we get them earlier. And that means that there's less slippage along the way. And something to keep in mind is don't refrigerate them, because if you refrigerate them, they actually get condensation on them. And then as they're packed, they start to sweat, and that actually diminishes the shelf life. So if you do it all in one day, that's perfect. And if you don't refrigerate it, that's even better.
Okay. But again, we'll be back with a broader thing and we'll talk about that. So sorry, I didn't go forward. Okay. So wanted you to sort of see graphically what has gone on and how illiterate we are. But basically, the chart gives us a good growth of, gives you a good indication of how we've grown, and we're continuing to grow. And it's been a push-pull with us from the beginning. The first couple of years, we weren't able to, even though we had 750 pounds of peppers, we probably had demand in the 3,000 pepper range. So we had to augment it. Last year, because of COVID and one or two other things, basically we had huge success at sourcing peppers, and it got a little bit ahead of the process of selling them. So we end up backing up inventory. That's always our challenge, to manage it. And as more and more gardens have come online, we're very excited about it, but we just have to really sort of pump up our sales and pump up our numbers, which we feel very good about. We'll talk to that in a minute. There's a couple different new stores and things coming online that will be helpful, but we feel very good about the growth. This chart represents a lot of progress and a lot of logistical stuff that has gone on over the last couple of years. Right? Who we are. These are our great action shots here. So it's an unlikely team, but it seems to have worked well. We are constantly trying to grow, and we've come to the understanding that our growth is really based on our ability to tell the story of what we're doing, which is essentially your stories, right? The things that are going on at your gardens, the people who are growing, the people who are participating, the people who are doing these things. We want people to understand the good work that goes on there all the time, and how we are sourcing this and what this means into the communities they are in. We have bought last year a pound of peppers from a bunch of people. We have also bought significantly more pounds of peppers from larger growers. New Roots is the immigration, the refugee relief farms, and I see some of the people are on here today. We have done a ton of work with those guys, and we're very, very proud of it, because they're helping people and refugees come into this country, and they're helping them integrate into the society, into our country. And as they do that, gardening becomes a great medium for them to be accepted. So we're extraordinarily proud of that story, and having that. So part of it grows, but you guys all know your particular garden stories. As we bring them out, there's been senior gardens. There's a bunch of different immigrant group type gardens. One thing we're learning is, in a lot of places, there's a lot of different ethnicities mixing together over the fabric of community in the garden. So it's a very nice story. Of course, most of this already from your own work every day. We are continually telling the story and moving it. We have a couple national distributors now, and they've been helpful in the stores of getting that out there. We're on Amazon and on Fair, which is a sort of new service for these specialty stores that everyone seems to have in their community that sort of sells knickknacks and doodads and always have cool things. We've gotten some great stuff there. And also Dan can do it directly. And we do a combo of all those things at all times. So people have reached out and we're always selling and telling the story about who it is and what we're doing, but it's never quite enough. So as we had analyzed the year, as I said at the beginning, I don't think we've brought enough stories to them, and we now have a medium to tell those stories. So we've done some of the Zoom calls, but you guys all have events at your gardens, different things. We can post about them and talk about them. I don't know how much some of the local stuff plays it or on a national audience. I find it always very cool. I like hearing the stories. I like hearing what's going on. And I think when you think about things like community and togetherness, I think understanding some of those things are really very helpful. Like just knowing that they exist and other people seeing that they exist, I think matters. It's just hear people, we see all this division and sort of, fighting and stuff that goes on and the terrible situation in Ukraine. It's nice to feel good about some things that people are doing every day in your community, in your neighborhood, to just exist together, grow together, and be together. And so these are all the things we want to do and push forward. King is a chef by training and works at that during the day as well. I do some stuff with affordable housing and do that as well. Dan is full-time on this at all times, but also has a paper he's beginning to publish on some agriculture stuff, which should be cool. But we wanted to say hello. Zoom, I thought, was a pretty cool thing to go get in front of everybody with and sort of just explain what we're doing a little more, provide some of that impact, and then ultimately, which is now, to hear from some of you guys as to what you think is important, pros and cons, anything you really want to share. We wanted to answer those questions and think it's important to be transparent about it. So wanted to open it up to all of you to raise anything, ask anything, or bring anything up. You forgive me on the technology. I'm not the best, but I think, are they unmuted? Can we unmute them?
They can unmute themselves.
You can unmute
I
yourself,
believe,
is that
or
right?
we can, if they raise their hand, or you could write the questions here in the chat, which is what we're also seeing.
Okay.
We'll go back to the
Go down. Dominique, is that right?
Dominique. Are y'all interested in farmers acting as distribution as well? Yes, we most certainly are. As we said earlier in the presentation, a lot of the farmers and gardeners like to take peppers of hot sauce. We normally pay $2.50 per pound of peppers that you guys send us. And we also pay for the UPS shipping to our facility as well. So that's not a cost on you guys. But like we said, a lot of the gardens that have farm stands or have connections with local stores, we like to sell that to them at cost. So, it works out to about $2.50 per bottle. And as a result, you get one bottle for 1 pound of peppers. And if there's a store that or a farm stand that you have, you could set your own price, and that translates 1 pound of pepper into something much larger. And we found that there's a lot of success that the gardens have doing that, because then they get to tell the story, they get to give it to the sponsors of the garden, the benefactors.
A physical.
It's an amazing thing, a 5-ounce bottle that kind of brings together a lot of thinking. What we've noticed over the years as we tell stories about community gardens is it's very abstract and nebulous until people go there. And unfortunately, not everyone in the world has been to a community garden, but they have seen a bottle of hot sauce. So when they are able to put all their abstract ideas about what a community garden is into a very small 5-ounce bottle of hot sauce, it kind of coalesces a lot of their thinking about it. And that's one of the things that we're most proud of. And so when we talk about people advocating for the small acts, it's having distribution centers in the gardens is a wonderful thing that we really are fans of.
Yeah. Okay. The next question up is Teresa Allen at IRC. We want to help you sell the product. We want you to be able to lift the cap on purchasing and keep growing through the project. Let's discuss some marketing ideas and arrangements. I mean, yes, we agree. So, there was a couple farms, that grew over 500 pounds of peppers. I think there was 6. And most of them were with the IRC, the New Roots farms that they have. It's a network of farms throughout the country that do some of that great work we're doing. It's a push-pull for us. As I said in the beginning, we're always going to honor our commitments. There's nothing more important. That's the way we were raised. That's the way we grew up. And if you make a commitment, you have to keep it. That's just the way it goes. And what happened is we made an open-ended commitment to everyone, and we bought every single pepper that came in. COVID sort of slowed up a little bit of the growth of the sales, and we're working through that. And I think we're going to be okay with it. But because we didn't want to have a situation where down the road we're in a position of writing a check and going out of business because we were going to end up with more peppers than we had to supply out, we've asked a couple of the bigger gardens, can we limit it to a certain number now? And then, as the year goes on, hopefully the growth picks up again, and it will. It definitely will. And we can move more stuff. But I don't want to be in a position where you're expecting X from me and I don't deliver. And so that is something we're going to work with you on, Teresa and the other IRC guys to do better. And like I said, who did we meet with? We spoke to one of the gardeners in who was it? What's her name? It was two guys. Anyways, we had told them, we don't think this, we hope this isn't a problem in July.
Oh,
It's
in Salt Lake.
It's Salt Lake, right? It's an issue today. So we'll return to that. And again, happy to talk about it more.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Who's talking?
This is Teresa Allen.
Oh, hey, Teresa.
So thank you for that information. And I think that one thing that would help us is that because we're conglomerating the peppers grown by several different growers when we send them to you, the growers want to get paid for their production, and they don't also, have like direct to consumer marketing outlets.
Right.
Whereas we as an organization do have potential direct to consumer outlets at our fundraising fairs and at our farmers market booths and things like that. And so while the individual farmers want to get paid by you for the peppers and we want them to get paid,
yeah,
they don't want to take the bottles in exchange. And so what I'm requesting, I guess, is can we have a wholesale buying program where you could still pay the growers, because we have to distribute that money to the several different growers who have provided the peppers. But whereas we as a nonprofit, or like we're working with some high schools and things like that, so we would like to get high school students involved also in selling the sauce. And there's lots of different ideas for selling and promoting the sauce locally, and the whole idea of the whole local thing. And so I'm suggesting that we have that opportunity with you, that you set up a possibility for us to do that from you.
Let me be perfectly clear. We are open to any and all ideas. We're a new company. We are emerging. That sounds great. What we were doing, Teresa, in the beginning was to make sure we had set expectations to the point where we weren't upsetting the apple cart at this moment. That said, the reason we had that conversation, and we'll continue to have that conversation, is, we don't really like that position. In the perfect world where we're successful with all of this, we're not limiting anything, and we keep adding more and more gardens, right? I mean, that's the goal here. And this push-pull has been going on from the beginning. In the beginning, we didn't have enough peppers. Now you have too much. And I think we're always going to be managing that. We're learning it now. And the conversation we had with IRC earlier was, this is where we're at right this second, but it should change. Let's just keep the dialogue open. We'll send you the seeds. As to payment, everyone got paid. We paid everybody, right? And mercifully,
yes,
we absolutely did. And so,
no problem.
And as to, we got really kind of lucky because we got one of those COVID loans, like it's a loan program, but we're able to get it. And that really helped fund the difference. But this might be a little specific to IRC, but I'm happy to get on the phone with you in the next couple of days and go through it more specifically. We want to work with you on all that stuff and want to make that a reality.
And we want you guys to know how important this sales outlet was to our growers, especially in 2020. In 2020, all of their restaurant customers were shut down. And really, this income was the only income that provided the supplemental income for these growers. And so everyone is super happy about the project. And we really want to work with you to help sell the sauce and keep the project going. So we understand why you're putting the cap on right now. We can handle it, but what we want to do is enable us as a group to all grow this project for the benefit of all the growers and be able to sell more products so we can keep going.
We don't want the cap. We didn't get in here to manage this stuff at this level. We want to take them all. It's just, these are growing pains. But let's continue this in the next day or two, Teresa. Is that okay?
Yeah, let's set up a time to talk. We have lots of ideas.
Yeah, okay, I'd be into that. That'd be great.
And Nancy has her hand raised as well. You want to go to Nancy before we
No,
go?
I'm going to go in order on this chat.
Okay.
Okay, is that okay? We'll get to you, Nancy, I promise. Each community garden is a gentle oasis in otherwise difficult times. Amen. We talked to those guys from Louisville, and they were saying that they had, the lady was telling me that they had Black Acre, and they were saying that they had a couple guys who had attempted suicide, and they were going into the garden during COVID as a sort of form of therapy. And, I think that backs up the point you were making, Aaron, about it. And that's an extreme example. I think there's other way less extreme examples where people just, this COVID's been brutal on everyone, right? And on everyone's heads, it's terrible. So having that outlet is real. I know it's really significant. Those guys in New York who I talk to all the time, there's a lot more people in the gardens just sitting around. It made a big difference. If you don't have a sales problem, can you handle more production? Yes. We have been able to dance on this thing from jump. Remember, no one was doing this. This is all brand new. So even on the creation of it, there's a group here in New York called Grow NYC, and they had a board of, I don't know, 10 or 15 people on it. And when I went in to pitch them the idea, I was by myself. And at the end of my presentation, which was all of about 2 seconds, I said, we're going to buy peppers from gardens and make a hot sauce. All the people in the room started cracking up laughing at me. Now, I think I'm a funny guy, but I wasn't trying to be funny. And, they're not laughing anymore, right? So we're not afraid of this, but, we think we can overcome everything. We got a good idea, and we have a good concept, and we have absolutely the best partners in the whole wide world, in the gardens and all of you. So yeah, I think the sky's the limit for us. And we love the concept of community, of bringing everyone together. We just aren't that different, right? That's what, the sort of cornerstone of who we are, right? We can all work together to solve our problems. Nancy says that she has some questions about the shipping process. Is Nancy on here? Oh, hey, Nancy.
Hi.
Hey, Nancy, how are you?
Hi there. First, I want to say thank you for putting this Zoom together. This is really helpful. We will be a new community garden that's participating this year. So this gives us a great outlet for understanding and seeing, that it's a worthwhile way to invest some of our garden space.
Great.
So I have some questions on the shipping. It sounds like it's set up in a way where we don't have to spend money to ship. And we'll learn more about that. So that's fine. But what about packaging materials? Is that something that we provide? And how quickly do things ship to you? Like the quality of the product, if it's packed and picked on the first day, how compromised might it get in shipping?
So that's a great question.
We did lose a couple boxes.
We lost a few boxes because of humidity along the way. UPS is pretty good. I think it's like a 5-day transit time from California, more or less. We encourage you guys to use UPS ground because in that lead time, the hit rate is still pretty good. And it seems like you're in New Jersey, and I think it's gonna be next day delivery. So I wouldn't worry for your garden specifically. But in 2020, I have data for it. We lost like 30 pounds of peppers due to the slippage. And so it's a system that works. It ships to our cold storage facility and they put it right in the vinegar. So I wouldn't worry about that. In terms of the box question, we have some gardens that grow 350 pounds, 500 pounds of peppers. And if they're at that size, we send them cardboard boxes just to have some sort of version of standardized procedure. If you're going to do shipments of 5 pounds at a time, 8 pounds at a time, we kind of ask you to recycle any of those
Yeah.
e-commerce boxes that you get, whether it's an Amazon box or a Chewy box or something like that you get from shipping, it's good enough for us. You can just pack and ship that. And, in terms of trying to keep it fresh, a few pieces of newspaper in there is perfect to absorb the humidity, or a hand towel or two, just to kind of take some of that moisture out. So the peppers, if they do sweat, they can stay fresh. So if you have any more, I have a step-by-step that I haven't sent out to you, but yet, since you were not part of the garden last year, but it's a very easy process when it comes to setting up the UPS account and doing pack and ship.
We also, you're sending out a way detailed
Yes.
explanation of it. You'll get it in about a week or so. We just didn't want to
Great.
confuse topics today.
Yeah.
It's its own thing. And, again, happy to continue the dialogue. It's just, that's a key part of it. We want to make sure everyone understands what we're trying to do and how that piece works.
Great.
Joanna said, do we have access to this PowerPoint? Yes, we will share it with everybody liberally. Thank you, Joanna. Where are you, Joanna? See her in there? I don't know.
No, we only have
Okay,
6.
yeah, I only have 6 things, but hopefully that answers the questions. Are we free to send out a press release to local media? Yeah, I guess, why not? Whatever you want to, however you want to talk about it, right? The concept of small acts is, we are not big. We're not a multinational corporation. We're just regular people doing our thing, trying to make this all work. So to the extent people understand it, the extent people know about it, I think they want to participate. I think there's just a general goodness in everyone that wants to be a part of community, of doing things, of helping. And, some people do not want to get their fingers dirty. I don't understand it, but that's where they're at. They could buy a bottle of hot sauce and help out in their own little way, right? And so if you want to send it out or talk to people, not only will we say, okay, we'd encourage it, please do, right? So hopefully that was helpful. And we can work with you on some of this. And okay, good. I'm getting 2 thumbs up. We've gotten some really interesting press from it. Like in LA, there was a garden and they did a whole expose on it. It was really pretty cool. We're very happy about it, right? So hopefully that's a good answer. Jessica asks, I have a quick idea for another way we could collaborate, a new community garden. We tried last year, but didn't quite make it happen. Guys, I'm just going to say about everything in life, I'm saying 21 was a mulligan in general, right? There's so many weird things that happened. There's so many terrible things that went on. It was a bad year. So, a couple gardens have talked to me this year and they said, well, we didn't send them last year, or Fred ate them all, or whatever it is. And you say, well, look, there's not a contract. We're not lawyers. We're not looking to go after people. We're sending you the seeds. We want you to send it back. But if you have something better to do with it, or it helps you, or it helps your community garden in some way, well, then do that, right? I mean, we're not getting buried on, sending some seeds. And I think we're still helping even if we don't get the seeds. So we feel good about that. Again, we want them back. That's what we're trying to do. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You'll notice you don't sign anything, right? There's no obligation. There's no written anything on it. We've been working with the gardeners here in New York and now nationally across, they've been great people. They pretty much try to help wherever they can. And if they get stuck or jammed up, we don't want to create more stress. We don't want to have people, get anxious about it. Like, it didn't work. It didn't work. Things happen. Does that answer your question?
So my quick question was, so thank you on that. I'm definitely excited about us participating this year. I'm teaching all my high school students how to propagate seeds this week. So it'll be super fun. The question I had was, I think my garden, along with other gardens, often have like donation wish lists for tools, usually through something like Amazon. And if there was ever a like donation wish list roundup, or if you guys had any social media, if there's people in the community who want to like chip in for a shovel, that's certainly something that is another way that people could continue to engage with our gardens if it ends up being of use. Like, we've got just a link that we send out to our community, and it helps us when, my high school students break a shovel. I don't have to go to the Bank of Jessica to buy it.
Right. Well, right. I mean, that's exactly the kinds of things. We have this social media outlet. We have about 10,000 people on it. I don't pretend to really even understand it so well, but it's there, it exists, and it has been effective. So, to the extent you have stuff going on, let us know. I don't think we want to be like a GoFundMe site at all.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But, I'm not adverse to trying to come up with some way to sort of put that out there. I think everyone probably has a lot of those same needs, Jessica, that you do. And, the the woman in Louisville had the greatest anti-crime, like all of you, I'm sure you have walking tools, right? They get up and walk out on their own quite regularly. But the woman in Louisville said, oh, I spray paint all my handles hot pink. So I know that they're mine. So all tools, I guess, if you ever go to that garden, you'll see a bunch of hot pink tools. Now you know why. It was a pretty cool idea, actually. Hi again. Just curious about two more things. Do you receive seeds or seedlings? And do you work with any gardens in New Jersey yet, or will you be the first?
Gardens receive seeds sent by Johnny's, and last year we had 2 or 3 gardens in New Jersey. You can see the list on our website. I updated it about 2 weeks ago before this meeting. It's pretty comprehensive. They were in Atlantic City or Sandy Bottom, New Jersey.
Yeah, like on the shore.
Yeah, and so there's, even if you Google small axe in New Jersey, I think that there was 1 or 2 local newspaper articles. So you can
that's right.
You can find the community.
Yeah, and I think we have that on our website. There was a couple. That's right. I forget that it had a very creative name, the newspaper for the Jersey Shore. But anyways,
and that's why, I mean, if you, I'm going to try and update them now once we send out the seeds again, because I try and keep the list as comprehensive as possible. But this year, that's why we kind of asked for the seedling request form to be filled out a little bit more comprehensively with the questions about what your garden, what made it special, because I'm the one who eventually types all of the summaries of your gardens for our website, and I want to make sure it's in your words as much as possible, because we try and make sure that you're telling the story that you want to tell, and we just try and be a local piece for that and broadcast it as best we can on our own garden.
Okay, good. So now let's have some info on the states who participate. I don't know what's available on the website.
We have a graphic that's 1 or 2 years old, so it's not totally comprehensive. It's about 9 or 10 of our cities that we, 15 of our cities that we work in.
Is there a state in particular we're concerned about, or is it just wanting to know where they are? I mean, I think the list is fairly complete.
It's probably easier to say what we're not in at this point. Hawaii, right? Oh, we have a sign up in Hawaii this year.
We did have a sign up in Hawaii.
But
yeah.
we
I'm looking for, guys, I'm looking for Vermont or Massachusetts. Do you have others that participate?
We definitely have Connecticut. I'm not sure about Massachusetts. I can look at the list and I'll send more specifically, or you could look at the Small Axe Garden Partners section of our website. And
but we can get back to you, Melissa, to see if they're up there, right? I don't know off the top of my head, but well, why don't we find out and get you a more concrete answer? I think
Up in Vermont, we have a lot of, during the summer, of course, that's the only time people want to be outside. We have a lot of places that sell all kinds of homemade sauces, salsas, etc. And it would be really cool if you guys could be getting into all of those little markets. Of course, the sales would be bigger in the summer than they are in the rest of the year, but most of those places do have something they do year round. So it would be great if you could get up into the Vermont markets where that is concerned. And I'm not Melissa, I'm Diane. I'm sitting here with her, and I could probably help you get some contacts for all those small markets.
I mean, Diane, let me be clear. We need all the help we can get. I mean, as we say, it's Small Axe. You are looking at 100% of the team, right? I mean, the fact that we got here is a testament to our inability to take no for an answer and our foolishness to just keep forging ahead at all times on this one. But we know it's a great concept. And we really, we think it will really work. We know it will. So we need all the help we can get. So if after this you can email us with it, we can talk about it more. But we don't have enough distribution points. We don't have enough people know the story, right? The key thing of the Small Axe is to be able to just utilize the things that we do have, right? And I think having this call is a recognition that perhaps we didn't do a great job of that, and we'd like to make the same mistake never, if we can.
Yeah, exactly. I'll reach out via email sometime in the next week.
And we'll get right back in touch with you, I'm sure. So then we went to Melissa, I think. Yeah.
You're going up.
I'm going up. Okay, sorry. I'm still going up. How come we can't go up? All right. What's going on here?
People are writing.
Oh, people are writing on it?
Let's see. That's pretty great, Jessica. We think it's pretty great.
Jessica, it turns out you're right.
Erin says we're south of Cleveland, Ohio. We have a few great gardens and a few great points of distribution in Cleveland. If you guys know Jungle Gyms, they were one of the first people who ever carried us outside of New York. So they're really a great partnership. And we have a few other gardens in Ohio that we're very happy to work with as well.
And hopefully more this year, right? I mean, the genesis of this is we reach out to strangers, to all of you, and we say, hey, here's this great thing. And everyone says, there's a bunch of jokers from New York coming here. Stay away, run, and run fast, right? And so it's why we start out by saying, we really want to deliver on what we say we're going to do, because that is credibility. That, you could poke around in here in New York. There's 20, 30 gardens who would vouch for us. And we've been with them now for a number of years. We do not break our word. We just don't do it. We're not ever going to do it. And so the growth is, you're in Cleveland, Ohio, and as Dan said, there's a couple other gardens. You'll tell a couple other gardeners, hey, by the way, if you want to do something, there's this cool concept, you can make a couple bucks at it, right? And the only way you do that is if you actually did it with us and got paid on it, right? So we are trying to grow this to as many gardens as we can, and we're going to just keep at it, doing it that way. So I think that answered. Well, I think we talked about that. Richard Bayless says, do you send particular varieties depending on the region? We're in Texas. Habanero seeds were sent last year. I defer to Dan on this one.
We're in the process of placing the order for the seeds now. I think that we're thinking about doing Serranos this year, in the sense that it's one of our best selling sauces and we can always use it. And also we found that from sea to shining sea, the Serrano is a little bit hardier than the Habaneros. We had a garden in Texas that it said it got 110 degrees. The habaneros got baked and they had no way of kind of saving them. And so we're going to try and experiment with growing Serranos down there in order to try and see if they're a hardier plant that can resist some of the incredible heat that you guys get there in the middle of the summer.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that, Richard. And then Yasina said that she is in southeastern North Carolina, Mount Olive, North Carolina. So that's great. Oh, and they're in Winston-Salem, and then Lorraine's in Winston-Salem, about 2 hours west of Raleigh. This will be our first year of Small Axe. So that's great, guys. More states have come on, more cities have come on. We're very excited about all of it. As I said again in the beginning, we just didn't do a great job of communicating with all of you. And we don't like to make the same mistakes twice. So we're going to keep the dialogue open. We're going to keep ourselves available to do this. I think we'll do another one as time goes on here in a little bit, maybe around May or something, to just open it back up again to answer questions if people care about it and sort of tell everyone what's going on and deal with it. But in the meantime, you have my email, you have Dan's email, and you have info at any one of the
info at Small Axe, which goes to both of us.
It goes to both of us. So, you can annoy us, but you can attack us both equally at the same time. So but we're happy to answer questions. If it's not right away, we'll get to it in short order. And if we don't, bug us again, because we want to answer your questions. We want to make sure you need and have what you need to do what you do. There doesn't seem to be any more questions, and we're approaching an hour here. Happy to talk more about it, but I hope this is helpful. I know. Oh, thank you for the info from Massachusetts. All right, well, we'll do that. Maryland, look at this. Oh, that's pretty cool. Thank you so much. All right. Well, guys, this won't be the end. I know that you won't all be able to get on there. There's a couple follow-ups from this. If there's anything else, we're happy to answer it now. But if not, I'll let you all go on with your night. I thank you very much for being on here, and looking forward to another great year, right?
Mahalo from Hawaii. That's a nice way to end. Mahalo is a nice spirit,
Yeah. Mahalo from Hawaii. Yeah, that's the best.
Mahalo is a great word that kind of captures the spirit, I think, of things.
St. Louis is out. Okay, guys. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Thank
you. Be well. Now, how do you turn this thing off? Is that it? Stop video?
Hold on.
And meaningful.